More about the Moscow attack is Andrij Dobriansky, Director of Communications for the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. Thank you so much for joining us today on Scripps News. To start, ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack. Other countries like the United States have verified that, and experts say the attack has all the hallmarks of an ISIS attack. So will you talk about the strategy here? Why is President Vladimir Putin trying to tie Ukraine to this?
He doesn't look a gift horse in the mouth. He likes doing whatever he can to manipulate international opinion about Russia. And here, as opposed to what happened with the Russian apartment buildings in the 90s and early 2000s, for which he's had numerous journalists killed, including Anna Politkovskaya, those people who are researching how Russia makes false flag attacks within its own country. Here, he was given a gift, a terrorist assault on Russia, for which he can make whatever reason for, and here he decided to make it about Ukraine.
And some claim Putin may have, in fact, ignored warnings about this attack taking place. What do you think this says about Putin's leadership? Do you think it's seen as weakening, or, as you said, a strategy of false flag, or maybe that Russia's security is weakening? I mean, what do you think is most likely here?
That's the most troublesome thing for the regime in Russia, the fact that he has made this deal with the populace as a strong man. I will protect you, so you might not have all the goods that you want in the store. Your wages might not go up every year. You might not be able to travel around the world because you're so hated. However, you will be protected. Now, that one thing, that one linchpin in this plan is clearly laid bare, that he cannot protect Russians from attacks by anybody.
And we talk about Russian sentiment here. I mean, do people really believe what he has to say? Of course, it's easy for us looking from the outside to see a lot of, incongruities here. But what's the sentiment among people in Russia?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. This is a population, for the most part, that does not get outside news. They are fed broadcast television from Russian stations, which only has one line. We know this particularly in the attack on Ukraine, and we know how soldiers crossing over from Russia into Ukraine thought about Ukrainians because of the kind of propaganda they view every day. So if they're not getting outside news, any other Western news, or even Middle Eastern news, if they're not seeing that, they have no idea what's happening.
And we talk about what happens next here. Is there retaliation toward ISIS, or is Putin going to continue on this same rhetoric that he has by ramping up attacks on Ukraine?
Well, both of those have happened. So, first of all, almost immediately, Ukraine was bombarded. In the last 24 hours, almost 20 cruise missiles shot at Ukraine, mostly targeting, again, civilian infrastructure. 2 days ago, it was yet another huge hydroelectric dam, just like we had last June, again being targeted by Russia under the guise of retaliation. Now, the storyline that he's made up about this terrorist attack, because obviously the West is trying to put out the actual news out there. Now he's changing his mind and having his spokespeople say that, well, maybe Ukraine was helping ISIS, and they clearly went through the border, a border between Russia and Ukraine that is the most heavily warfare entrenched border in the world right now. So I don't think it's that even his explanations are coming true to people who are in the area.
Will certainly be interesting to see what unfolds here, especially for those grieving families. Just a horrible tragedy. Andrij Dobriansky, thank you so much for joining us today.